Hey guys, Febby here. Today we're going to be looking at a guide for StormTalon Lair, and as well as the three main bosses, we're also going to be looking at some of the trash packs. If you're not interested in watching the entire guide, you can go ahead and click one of the links that will be on the front. Please do have your annotations turned on, and it will take you to one of the boss that you're interested in most. So the first one is Sentinel and Shaman. These are quite a difficult trash pack. These ones particularly you want to be pulling forward because of the Storm Weaver. You want to make sure you pull them around the corner so you don't have the extra ad come in as well. And the second thing you want to know is that you absolutely must target the Shaman first. This group isn't doing that, and it's taken quite a while to kill the Sentinel. Kill the Shaman first. He will heal. He does a rejuvenate. So interrupt that. Kill him first and you'll be good as gold. There's nothing really much more than that you can do. Just AoE them down, do as much damage as possible. But yeah, Shaman first. Second up, you have the Tempest. The only thing you really need to know about this is that you have to stand out of the red stuff as normal with Wildstar. Don't stand in the red stuff. And when you get targeted by the hurricane, as I am now, you need to make sure that you jump away from the group so it gives you enough room to move around. Third up, we have the Spell Weaver. The Spell Weaver will target a random group member, stun him, and then do a lot of damage. You need to try and make sure you either heal that person through that, or you interrupt the Spell Weaver and save your team member. So we have the first boss. He's fairly simple, he's not too difficult, and even with quite a few mistakes you can manage to kill him. First of all, he does the cross. Just don't stand in the red stuff. Normal stuff shouldn't be a problem for you. First phase is just tank and spank, and don't stand in the red. Don't stand in the bad stuff. Next phase, he's going to disarm you, go pick up your weapon, and then choose a way to kill the ads. Now, one big tip is that the lightning that's being put on your team members can actually be used to damage the mobs. Some people don't tend to do that, but as you'll see here, I've just blinked over, got the extra damage on the mob, dropped it there. So that's the best way to do that. It will be much quicker, it will do much more damage to the NPCs, and you'll be able to get through all four quickly. The other thing you want to watch out for is the spheres running around the outside. If you're caught in them, they will stun you and they will do a lot of damage, and they can stack up along with the lightning, which will also knock you over. So sometimes you can get CC'd just from environmental damage, and that's never a good thing. Your healer will struggle and it will do a lot of damage to your team. As you can see here, there's these two moving around the outside, and then my team's kind of stood on the outside as well, which is never good. You want to be stood kind of where I am, and that's in the middle, which is going to give you enough breathing room. They've all moved around to me now, and that's perfect. This is why we got the kill. They're not stood on the outside, so that's always a good idea. So this last phase, the boss has interrupt armor, and you need to be stunning him. As soon as you've killed that last ad, you need to be going in. Everyone needs to be in melee range, and you need to stun and make sure that that big AoE doesn't actually go off. This team didn't manage to do it, so I had to heal everyone through it, and I did struggle. But if you can interrupt that, this boss is piece of cake. If you can get your whole team to interrupt that big stun at the end, it's so simple. But it is probably the hardest thing to get your team to do. But even still, you can pretty much kill him. As you see, I died here, but the team's managing to finish him off, so not too bad. The second boss will summon a bunch of tornadoes, and you have to go through a gauntlet style environment encounter to get to him. I seem to be typing here, sorry about that. So the gauntlet starts, and all you need to do is just DPS them down at the beginning. Make sure you move out of these. They do a lot of damage and they do stack up, so they can one-shot you. AoE down the ants, shouldn't be a problem. Although they can do a lot of damage to squish your targets, so make sure your tank picks them up. So the gauntlet starts, you need to run through it and you need to get to the other end, use your movement abilities, and then the boss needs to be stunned. You need to make sure that you get all your members to do a stun at the same time, and then he will fall down and then you can do a lot of damage. Make sure you don't stun the lightning again, and then just rinse and repeat from there. The gauntlet can slightly be difficult sometimes with the random lightning. Just try your best to get there and stun him as soon as possible, and then try to avoid the lightning, which I did not do here because I was surrounded by tornadoes as well. Last boss is StormTalon. His main attack will AoE damage anyone in front of him. It is a cone ability, so try not to stand in front of him. As soon as you're stunned and knocked back, you need to run in, and everyone needs to stun him as soon as possible because the ability will wipe the entire group. So you need to get the stun off and you need to make sure that he is interrupted. Avoiding lightning on the floor is normal. Next phase, he will go into a enraged kind of thing and he will just drop lightning everywhere. Just keep moving. Don't need to do any damage there, and again he will stun and knock back, so you need to do your best to get in and interrupt him. Next phase, you have an Eye of the Storm sort of thing. Right here we have a very bad example of what you do not want to do. The group's far away from the boss. You've got to make sure that your person who's being targeted is moving, which is fine, and the group's moving with him, but we're not able to do any damage to the boss there. Again, everyone wants to stack on the person who's being targeted and you all want to move around. As you can see, the team was dropping off because they weren't moving properly with the person being targeted. They were moving to the side of him, which is no good when lightning is being dropped. So right here is a really good example. He stood in front of me in melee range and I'm stood just behind. It means that there's enough room behind the two of us that he's not going to be hit by the lightning, and I'm going to be able to move without any problems whilst he's able to stand within melee range. If possible, that's what you want to do with your whole team. Whether you're a ranged person or not, you want to be able to stand in a good place. And again, me and him managed to just finish the fight by ourselves. The fight's very easy. All you need to do is make sure you're in the right place. If you're in a group and you're struggling, feel free to link them to this video, and I do hope it helps. I'll see you next time in Nexus, guys.